So, Bill, I met this elderly couple. They just bought a house. I just did their inspection, and they had a horrible nightmare. They got scammed out of their... They were buying a different house before.
Okay.
And they wired the money thinking they were wiring the deposit to the right person, and it was a scammer.
Yep, it happens.
They thought it was a title person. So,
yeah.
You know, I didn't really get deep into it, but I keep hearing about these scams, these real estate scams. And then this company, this article came out from Finance Buzz, 10 real estate scams that could empty your wallet and how to spot them, and how to spot them. I think this is probably going to be the most important video that we ever do. Because if somebody's watching this till the end and this video prevents them from being scammed and losing money, it was worthwhile. So some of this stuff I didn't even think of.
Yeah, scams are out there for everyone, and we really have to be diligent on these things. And at the end of the day, if you have a question about anything when it comes to your real estate transaction, that's what your real estate agent is there for. Pick up the phone and call them. And make sure, confirm things. There's no dumb question, and I tell every one of my customers that they pick up the phone and call me, and I give them instructions, because there are a ton of scams. I just closed on a house last week, and I talked to them about a scam. It's a legal scam, but it's still a scam, and we'll tell you about that here in a minute.
So, but anyways, I agree with you. Talk to your realtor, but I was talking to a realtor about this video that we were going to do. Obviously, it wasn't you. It was another realtor. Yep. And he's like, oh, I never heard of that. I never heard of that. So I don't think all realtors are equal.
Well, no, we've had those videos too. Let's dive into this.
Let's dive into it, okay? But the article goes on. Real estate scams are at an all-time high, but these tips will tell you what to watch for and how to protect yourself.
Okay.
Do me a favor, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. It's greatly appreciated, and we're going to keep plugging away at these videos to make sure you get plenty of benefits out of it. Okay? According to an FBI report, nearly 12,000 people lost money in real estate rental scams in 2021. Okay? 12,000 people, a 64% increase from the previous year. But if you're careful, there's ways to eliminate money and stress and falling victim. So here's the first one, okay? Tell me if you heard of this one. Business email hacks, wire transfer fraud. By far, the most common scam is when a real estate agent or title companies gets hacked, their emails get hacked.
Yeah, that happens all the time. So what you'll see is, like at the bottom of every email that comes from me, and I know I see it on every other agent that I've dealt with anyway, at the bottom of theirs is never trust wiring instructions. And what you'll get from me, and I know a lot of other agents that I'm friends with do the same thing, is they're going to tell you that I am personally never going to give you wiring instructions. And if you get an email from the title company, because those email addresses can be spoofed, and they can change one digit in the wire number, and once that wire goes out, that wire is gone, and it's very difficult, if impossible, to get back. So your money's gone.
So this is what they're saying, revealing your information from their emails. The scammer will impersonate the seller, asking the title company to wire transfer the escrow funds to scammer's account instead, referring to as business email compromise, BEC scams, by the FBI. The agency reports that $2.9 billion was lost in BEC scams in 2023 alone. That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these people know to go after the title companies. Red flags, okay? Tell me if you agree with this. Real estate professionals who haven't addressed cybersecurity issues with you up front, which may indicate their lack of awareness. So, as a realtor, do you talk to your buyers about scams and to be careful?
Yeah, like I said, this is what we discuss. And then when it comes time, once you're under contract, on the contract itself is the title person contact information and their phone number and their address. And your agent should be, if they're not familiar with that specific title company, because there's a lot of them, mm-hmm. I call the company. I confirm that the website's correct. I confirm that the address is correct. And if there's any kind, I've had issues mm-hmm. where one of my customers was getting ready to wire money to the title company, and the title company uses a voice over IP type phone system. They use these digital phone systems, and the system was disconnected. So what ended up happening is we couldn't confirm the title company, so we ended up calling a title company that I knew, and we did a leapfrog transfer. So my customer transferred the money to the title company that I knew that was held by an attorney I know, and then they confirmed that the other title company was legit and the information was correct, and then they sent the money off.
That's smart. Tanya deals with it too. She works for a title company. Okay, here's number 2 scam: lockout agreements and processing fees. A prospective buyer wants to complete a sale quickly and gets you to sign a contract with a lockout clause, which prevents you from selling the house to anyone else. Okay? Betting on your desire to finish the transaction so it doesn't drag on for months, the scammer then asks you for a processing fee or even a reduction in the agreed upon price in order to complete the sale. Unfortunately, this scam often targets homeowners who are desperate for cash. If you happen to be in that position, you might start researching how to get a loan instead. Red flags: cash buyers, someone who is rushed and pushy. That's a red flag.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? You ever hear of that scam?
Not specifically how that was worded out. But I do know that if 100%, if for some reason, they're pushing to get, we can close on this day, we can close on that day, use my title company, we'll save you fees and all this, that, and the other. Just be cautious with that and really, really slow down and
if they're
do
pushy,
due diligence on that. That's a big one.
Okay, scam number 3, cashiers, checks, and refunds.
God, yeah.
Someone contacts you to purchase your home sight unseen, which is a red flag right there.
Right.
The would-be buyer sends you financial documents and their contract info, and maybe even suggests you to hire a real estate attorney so it all seems legit. Mm-hmm. Then they send you a cashier's check for tens of thousands of dollars, but it's several $1,000s more than the confirmed amount. The fake buyer asks you to wire transfer the surplus back to them, and soon after, your bank informs you that their check was fraudulent. Red flag. A buyer is willing to purchase your home without seeing it, who sends you excessive and urgent communications.
First of all, they shouldn't be sending you the money. The money should be going to the title company to be held in escrow.
Right.
That's the first clue right there that they're going to wire you, that they're sending you a cashier's check. That's a problem.
Absolutely on that one. Okay, why don't you do number 4?
Notice of pendency. In this scam, a buyer waits until they've entered the closing phase and their money is in escrow before demanding a discount, usually for repairs on the accepted offer price or cash back. When the seller refuses to negotiate, the buyer files notice of pendency or less penance, which means there's a pending lawsuit on the property. Effectively, this means the seller can't sell to anyone else, so they are either forced to negotiate with the buyer or wait it out in the court system. Red flags. A buyer who is either out of state or has little online presence. Huh.
Have you heard of that one?
Not in that direction, no.
But that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
See, we're learning something too.
One thing I do want to point out is something that they said at the very beginning here, which is demanding a discount usually for repairs. That's part of the negotiation process. So I don't want people to confuse that where you're in your due diligence period, you've reached an agreement, you're getting your home inspected, the inspector finds things that need to be repaired, et cetera, deficiencies, and then the buyer and the seller are negotiating for those. That's normal. That's part of the process. Normal, yeah. This is different. This is completely different, but I don't want people to think that that's some sort of a scam.
All right.
Okay, so number 5, unsolicited buyers wanting off-market sales. How many times do you get those phone calls?
Oh, I get them all the time. I must be in a demographic that everybody wants to call me for.
I think so. Yeah, you have a second story, so you do meet a certain demographic.
Yeah.
All right, these fraudsters will approach you unsolicited, and sometimes the communications are oddly specific, giving them an air of legitimacy. The end game here could be an offer that is far below market value or an attempt to fish for personal information. You may be in a situation where an off-market all-cash sale is really tempting because you need the cash. Instead, consider speaking with one of the best mortgage lenders. You may be in a situation where an off-market all-cash sale is really tempting because you need the cash. Instead, consider speaking with one of your mortgage lenders so they can help you sort through alternatives such as home equity loan or mortgage refinance. Red flags on this would be unsolicited communications asking for details about your home or an outright cash offer. The average contract to closing time can take 4 to 6 weeks if the buyer wants you to act quickly or gives you assurances of an immediate sale. It's most likely a scam. Yes, again, back to quick, right? We don't want things that are fast. If they're pushy, you got to make a decision today.
Forget about it. Walk away from those.
It's done. And we talked about this after the storms, where we had a lot of cash buyers. Yeah, where you need to make a decision today.
Yeah. Oh, I'll give you 24 hours for this decision.
Yeah,
it expired. Tell those people just to walk off.
Like the used car salesman approach type thing. So you just don't want that. It's a real estate transaction, and they don't go fast. They take time. There's legalities that you have to go through to clear title and all that stuff. So.
Sure.
All right. Forged deeds.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one.
Yeah, this would be a good one. Imagine putting up your home for sale, finding a buyer, getting all the way to closing, and then discovering that someone else has made a claim on your property, either through a quitclaim or outright forgery. Typically, this scam involves someone presenting a fraudulent deed on your property to a notary, recording the new deed at the county recorder, and then taking out a mortgage on your property for the funds. If you're a homeowner who has a lot of equity in their home, you're a scammer's favorite target. Red flags: not receiving a mortgage or a tax property bill.
Okay, let's talk about this one.
Yep.
You know those commercials that say, hey, title lock will protect your house, title? Let me give you guys some advice, like what I did. On my properties, I went to the county, okay, and probably your county where you are too. And I put a request in. If anybody goes near anything that's to do with any of my properties, they will notify me. So anybody, tries to change anything, record anything, do anything that has to do with my properties, the county actually has a system, and they notify me. Or if somebody uses my name in the county notifies me via email. And I've got alerts before. There were legit things that we did, but within 24 hours, I was getting alerts that, hey, something was changing on my deed or, my title or whatever.
Right.
So go to your county, and you could do it for free. At least I did it here in Pasco, and in Pinellas you could do it for free. I don't know where you guys live, but it doesn't hurt. Call the county and say, hey, I want notification if anybody tries to do anything when it comes to the deed of my house.
That's great advice, because that's scary that
but it's free. It's free. And that's how, these title companies that you have to pay, that's what they're doing. They're signing their name to the counties and saying, hey, notify us if there's anything happens.
Right.
So that's a free way of doing it.
Yeah, that's a great advice. I can't imagine, you wake up one day and then your house is gone.
Well, it happens all the time. Yeah, people steal the house. They're like, but literally, we went to the county because Tanya works for, she learned it when she went to work for title companies, and they said, just do this and you'll get notified right away.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so the next one up is suing a seller for not disclosing known issues. So a little background, basically what they're saying here, and we'll read through it, is you have to disclose any known issues when you go to sell the house. So just be honest with things. Don't hide stuff. It makes it very difficult to sell the house, and it's much easier to get in front of things.
How's that turning into a scam?
Yep, so we're going to go with that. But that's just general information, because I'm telling you, a lot of people don't disclose things.
Yeah.
It's shocking, to be honest. In most states, sellers must inform buyers about known property damage, such as leaking pipes or even known noise disturbances. The key part here is known, which makes it easy for a buyer to accuse you of concealing factors that negatively affect property value and then take you to court for it. If you're a homeowner who's wondering if you really need to disclose, say, a local high schools, insanely loud stadium sound system, research local and state laws, or contact a qualified real estate attorney. Red flags: a less than thorough home inspection on the buyer side, or a bunch of unknowns or don't knows on the seller's property disclosure.
Yeah, so yeah, if you put a lot of, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Unknown.
Yeah, so on the property disclosures, a couple pages, if everything is don't know. Now, if you didn't occupy the house, there's a form that says that I've never occupied the house. So if you were selling, as a family member selling for maybe a deceased family member, that'd be one thing. That's understandable. But if you're the homeowner and you've been there for 15 or 20 years, you probably got a pretty good idea what went on in your house.
So this one over here.
Yeah, the We Buy Homes.
We Buy Homes. You see those all the time.
Yep.
Although there's some legitimate businesses that specialize in buying homes for cash, the We Buy Homes for cash, it's a trick, some of them.
Some of them, yeah, not the company We Buy Homes.
Not the company, yeah.
Just you see the sign, people can print out these.
Billboards, We Buy Homes, call us, Telephone poles are most likely the work of scam artists. You see those.
Yeah. And the bandit sign stuck in the middle of the road.
Yeah, this is how the scam works. Usually desperate homeowners for quick cash sale. The scammers convince the homeowner to sign over the deed early, promising you a fast payout of your mortgage. This gives scammers control of your property, which they can lease to a new tenant. Although they lost the right to your home, you still have to pay the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So you're desperate, they convince you, just sign this, and they lease it out. Red flags. A company that advertises on cheaply printed flyers, like we just talked about, leaflets, no online presence or registration with the Better Business Bureau, or any attempt to get you signed partially blank or complicated documents.
Yeah, and here's something else to do with all of these. If you're being approached and then you're going to use their title company or something along those lines, just pick your own title company that's not theirs. If they say no, that we're not doing it, then there's a red flag there too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's too much danger involved with that, in my opinion.
Short sales and flopping. The complex scam involves the owner who has decided to complete a short sale, which is when the house is sold back to the bank for less than their outstanding mortgage balance.
Right.
Okay? One way this can turn into a scam is when the buyer, maybe with the help of fraudulent appraiser, convinces the homeowner that the property is worth far less than it really is. Once the short sale is completed, the buyer turns around and sells the property at its true market value. So that means like a scammer is working with an appraiser, which is kind of insane if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Red flags. A buyer who presents themselves as an investor but is not known in the community, doesn't have an online presence. I guess you really have to check these people out no matter what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. There was a similar situation that's ongoing right now where somebody was actually pulling one of these scams recently.
Upfront administrative fees. Okay, a company or agent approaches you about selling your home, maybe even promising that they already have a buyer. I get that.
Oh my God!
I have a buyer that's interested in your home or your property. However, they need administrative fees, money for taxes paid up front before they can complete the sale. The unsuspected property owner pays the fees and then the scammer disappears. Red flag. Anyone who asks you to pay fees up front, especially if they offer you a money-back guarantee, if the property isn't sold.
That just screams fraud. Don't do it.
Look,
don't do it. I know the money, that it's tempting and everything, but that's screaming issue. Issue.
There's so many ways to get scammed, okay? Seriously, check out the Better Business Bureau. Look at their online presence. Look at people's reviews. Ask around. If anybody, here's my opinion. Even with real estate, because I do real estate, my own personal stuff. If anybody's pushy with me, I say get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't deal with them.
Yeah.
I don't deal with pushy people.
No, and you know, to kind of address the whole, we have a buyer for you, you get those phone calls a lot, so you want to understand kind of what if I call you and I say I have a buyer for your house, it's legitimate, because I'm not going to call you unless I actually have a buyer. But what they're saying in these instances is, because you get those phone calls all the time, those aren't always fraud. It's a door opener, and they have a buyer in their system that could be interested in your property, the real estate agent, right? Because they have a CRM. But what this has done is it's really given everybody a bad name and a doorway, in my opinion, for these scammers to come in. Because I have made calls to people who fit a certain group. Like I had a buyer, this is a while ago, I had a buyer that specifically needed to be in a certain neighborhood, and there were several thousand homes, but we started sending letters out and trying to see if anybody was interested in selling to this individual, because I did truly have a buyer. But we used their name, you know, and said, hey, Bob and Sue need to buy this house, you know, and they're looking. So if you or anybody else knows of anybody selling, please let me know, because they need to move into this neighborhood, be in the schools, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just, that took off. Not that I didn't create this, that was a, you know, thing back in the day, but just be cautious with all that stuff. Really be cautious with that.
A lot of scams going on there, and then they're going after the elderly. They're going out after, you know, the people without mortgages. You know, that's what they do for a living. They're scammers. That's their job, is to scam people.
And they're getting very good at it. And you know, I've seen websites just from another business entity that remember I called you about it? It looked like a scam. We were actually going to drive to Orlando.
Yeah.
We were buying some wholesale stuff, and everything looked good. And once I had to go to the state to confirm their business license, and it went to a different business, and then that business went to something else.
You wanted to buy that lot, yeah.
Yep, and it was fraud, and ended up being fraud.
Yeah. Anyways, that's today's video. Do me a favor, you know, comment below. Tell us if you were scammed, or you know anybody that was scammed, and you know how to avoid it. You know, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And check out this video right here. I picked it out just for you guys, and I think you'll appreciate it. And we'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you, and have a great day.
See you on the next video. Thanks.